This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Family, friends and workmates are paying tribute to a West Australian teenager killed by meningococcal disease while visiting Tasmania. 19-year-old Lloyd Dunham was helping his sister move to the state, and today she spoke with Southern Cross News to pay tribute to her brother.
Lucy Dunham looks through photos of her older brother, Lloyd. Memories now extra special. This is one of them, the 19-year-old proudly posing at the Great Lakes last week. He'd never seen snow.
I was moving here and I asked him to come with me. So he did, just for a week, because he knew I was scared, I guess. It's a big move. And he was my best friend, so that's what you do.
She says Lloyd had been feeling sick, but his condition worsened on the day he was supposed to fly home.
He had been vomiting and I tried talking to him, but he couldn't talk to me. He was just making noises, and so I knew something was wrong.
As an ambulance arrived, his body was fighting against a ruthless disease, but for a moment he regained consciousness. I
just said, "Are you all right?" But he didn't say anything, he just looked at me.
At the Royal Hobart Hospital, there was nothing doctors could do to save him.
It was horrible.
Public Health confirming Lloyd had contracted Group W meningococcal, a disease growing in Tasmania.
Meningococcal W has increased in most states of Australia and also in Tasmania over the last 3 years.
Lloyd is one of 2 people killed by meningococcal in Tasmania so far this year. A 19-year-old known for making people laugh and his love of motorbikes.
He was very funny. He made people laugh wherever he went. Very kind and generous. I could always ask him for help with anything and he would help me.
He leaves behind a devastated family, a little sister now without her best friend. But she has so many memories to cherish. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanian apprentice and trainee numbers will boom by 40% over the next 7 years if the state government reaches its target to increase the construction workforce. The Premier today spruiking the initiative to see trainee numbers grow to over 11,000 in the sector.
We want to ensure that there are more opportunities for young Tasmanians to get into work, and we need to give them the best possible pathways to do that. We want an army of apprentices.
It's wonderful that he's worked out people want jobs and people want training, but yet again, we're on the front foot with this stuff and Labor can deliver.
Tasmanian small businesses can receive incentive payments of $4,000 when employing a new apprentice or trainee. Whitewater adventure bodies are applauding a new agreement with Hydro Tasmania to conduct special water releases at popular canoe and kayaking destinations. Extra water will flow twice a year under the plan in a bid to attract more local and interstate visitors. The special releases will happen at locations including Cataract Gorge, Lake Roellen and Brady's Lake.
So that if you're a national paddler, you can plan to come to Tasmania, you come for a week, and do some paddling right across the north and then maybe down to Brady's Lake in the Central Highlands and make a week of it.
Promotional campaigns will target adventure tourists ahead of the water releases. Tasmanian students are doing their bit to help some of the state's most vulnerable this winter, following a charity dinner organised by Launceston College students, which raised more than $900 to feed those who are homeless. The initiative was arranged with the support of a local group which told students about the issues facing those who cannot afford food or shelter.
Did a bit of research before doing the dinner, lots of background of it, so definitely doing that actually made us realise how much of a serious problem it is.
Those involved say they would like to organise more charity dinners to raise money for worthy causes. Hobart City Council will soon be flying the marriage equality flag at its headquarters on Davey Street in Hobart. Councillors voted yes to flying the flag on the Mid-City building to demonstrate its support for the change ahead of the upcoming postal vote. The Premier has confirmed he will be voting yes and is calling on all Tasmanians to debate the issue respectfully.
Be measured in what they say publicly, because there are very mixed views on this. That's why I gave my members a conscience vote.
To be eligible to vote, you need to be enrolled in the Australian Electoral Commission before Thursday. Tasmanian authorities have confirmed an outbreak of mange has had a significant impact on wombats in the West Tamar area. But the Environment Department says the results of monitoring in other parts of the state aren't showing such dramatic population losses.
Driving through the bush, these wildlife workers are spotlighting for wombats. In their beam, a healthy wombat. This is one of many surveys conducted across the state in the past few months.
We're effectively obtaining baseline data on mange prevalence in Tasmania at the moment. We do know we have had mange for a number of decades in Tasmania, but it actually hasn't been fully quantified.
Confronting footage like this has highlighted the plight of mange-affected wombats. A mite burrows under their skin, causing intense itching. This scratching causes further irritation and can lead to fatal secondary infections.
What we're seeing is, low numbers of wombats with mange, and clearly that's distressing for those individual wombats, but it's not, at this stage, based on our data, a disease that's driving population declines.
These day and night monitoring trips have collected data across the state, showing 90% of wombats are healthy and increasing in number. But in the West Tamar area, there has been a concerning drop in numbers.
Our surveys have so far been in the Narantapu area, where there's probably less than about a dozen wombats, and so somewhere around about 40% of the remaining wombats have mange.
Authorities are considering a new approach for this population, with current treatments not showing a big impact.
The only treatment we have at present, it needs multiple applications over a 4-month period, so delivering that to wombats in the wild is challenging, to say the least.
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tasmania's youngest cancer sufferers will soon be able to take part in cutting-edge research at home rather than flying interstate. The Kids Cancer Project today donating $140,000 to establish a clinical trials unit right here in Tasmania.
Richard Caldo knows firsthand how cancer can interfere with your life. Just 5 years ago, his 3-year-old son Archie was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form, neuroblastoma.
And that then started a 2-year journey of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, surgery, immunotherapy, surgery, and thankfully Archie was one of the lucky ones.
The once high-flying financier now sits on the board of the Kids Cancer Project, a charity that today donated $140,000 to the Royal Hobart Hospital. This money will establish a cancer clinical trials unit, ensuring Tasmanian children have equal access to care.
Now I can justify the funds that have been donated from Tasmanians to be spent on trials for kids. Now, the only way you're going to find a cure for children's cancer and better treatment is through science.
There are many cancers that children are afflicted with that as recently as the 1960s and 70s were a death sentence that now have upwards of an 80% long-term survival. And the vast majority of this improvement has come through access to clinical trials.
The boost will see young sufferers now able to take part in cutting-edge research without having the disruption of flying interstate.
It really does turn your world upside down, and if you're able to be in your hometown with your home support, you have no idea the difference that makes.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
While drivers in the south of the state may not be noticing anything different, our northern counterparts will for the first time see a number of cameras popping up around city streets and surrounding areas. Until Thursday, these monitors will be in place to track Launceston commuter travel patterns. The Department of State Growth says it will use the information to improve traffic management and to assess the impact of major developments. The final pieces of a popular Tasmanian restaurant have been auctioned off today. Dozens of items from Fitzy's City Cafe, including Sunday glasses and iconic menu boards, have been snapped up by nostalgic buyers.
2 weeks ago, Fitzy City Cafe was gone, serving its last tray of treats after 45 years in business. Today, everything from sturdy commercial mixers to those distinctive purple chairs sold to the highest bidder.
250, 260, 270.
More than 100 lots went under the hammer.
A few people have come in, they've had an emotional attachment.
The centrepiece, Fitzy City Cath's neon sign, the one which greeted countless customers in Harris Scarf. Today it went for $1,100 to an electrician from Lagana who loves local history.
I won't get a chance to get on the local sign because they just don't make neons anymore, and I thought, let's do it. So I got it.
They don't make them like they used to.
If you've ever watched anyone make them, they're one continuous long piece of glass and it takes them hours to bend it and shape it and design it and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I mean, they're just not made anymore.
Lot 22, we've got the FED stainless steel bench refrigerator, 600 for that one.
Armitage Auction says most items sold, even the kitchen sink.
It's not a particularly enjoyable thing to have to do, but unfortunately places closed down. As iconic and historic as they are, we've got to move on.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. Broad-based gains have driven the Australian share market higher, with the mining sector a key factor due to stronger commodity prices and BHP Billiton's improved dividend and plans to exit the US shale industry. The ASX 200 index has risen by 24.2 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79.45 US cents and 67.3 euro cents.
He's in the best form of his football career, coming off yet another best on ground performance for the Bombers over the weekend. And after leading by example all season, Brad Cox-Goodyear says he's more ready than ever for finals footy.
He's been among the Bombers' best in recent years, but this season has seen Cox-Goodyear step up a whole new gear.
Put it down to more midfield time. That comes from having my body right and being able to run freely and not be hampered by injuries helped a lot.
With fellow leaders Taylor Whitford and Jay Lockhart plagued by injury throughout the season, the Bombers' vice-captain has relished the opportunity to lead from the front.
He has put that through off 2 steps there.
Myself and Jack Event, as joint vice-captains, had to really step up into that role, and we've obviously got some really other good leaders around the club, which has helped a lot.
Cox-Goodyear also crediting much of the Bombers' success to playing coach Tom Couch, who sits equal second with him in the Player of the Year votes.
Coming to training and game day, very enjoyable and more relaxed, I feel, and everyone sort of feels the same way. You can always have a good chat with him.
And having already tasted premiership success with the club, the tough-on-ballers experience should prove invaluable come finals.
And the blokes that have played understand what it takes and what it feels like to win one, and then you've got the blokes who haven't done it, and yeah, they want to taste that success too. So everyone's sort of driving everyone, and there's a really good feeling around the place.
Already contracted for the Bombers for 2018, Cox-Goodyear is keen to continue his leadership role into the future and believes the top-of-the-table Bombers have what it takes to get it done in September.
There's no other place I'd rather be at the moment, really enjoying it, and yeah, looking for more success too.
Tasmanian Yacht Alive is tracking along nicely at the Hamilton Island Race Week in Queensland, leading the IRC division after 2 races. Race 1 was won by Crown Prince Frederick of Denmark's yacht Nanook, before Alive hit its stride to take out race number 2. The racing continues through until Saturday. Hobart's Cameron Worth is headed to one of the world's premier Ironman events after qualifying for the Kona Ironman World Championships in Hawaii on October 14. Consisting of a 4-kilometre open water swim, 180-kilometre bike ride across the Hawaiian lava desert and a 42-kilometre marathon along the coast, the event will see the best triathletes from around the world converge on the iconic island. Last weekend, Worth earned his first podium finish in Sweden since taking up pro-level competition. After stage 3 of the Vuelta España, Tasmanian Will Clark is sitting back in 108th position. Clark started strong but couldn't keep the pace, dropping away from his Cannondale-Draper teammates and eventually finishing 14 minutes behind the stage winner. Chris Froome holds the Tour leader's red jersey. And it's a mix of new heads and familiar faces for the Tasmanian Tigers' upcoming pre-season tour, with Alex Doolan, Ben Dunk, Tim Payne and James Faulkner among the Tigers' faithful, while Queenslander Nicholas Buchanan, New South Welshman Tom Rogers and Charlie Wackham, and Western Australian Aaron Summers will make their debut for the side. Talent manager Ben Rohrer says runs and wickets will be the currency, with several key players still overseas and likely to slot back into the side ahead of September's JLT Cup One-Day Cup tournament.
Bird and Wadey in the Aussie side. George is still over playing in England. There's a couple of rookies that are in England as well, Devlin and Jewell, who are finishing up the seasons over there.
The pre-season tour will consist of 5 games and begins at the Sunshine Coast next Tuesday.
Good evening. Hobart reached 16 today, Launceston 13, Burnie 14 and Devonport 12. Highest rainfall was 3 millimetres seen at Maribor and Smithton. 17 was the state's top in Campania. Friendly Beaches 16, St Helens, Bushy Park and Strawn 15. Lowhead, Grove, Wynyard and the Islands all hit 14. Fingal had the state's low of -4. The satellite shows a frontal band of mid-level clouds spanning from the south of Tasmania across the Bight and towards Western Australia. Low-level cloud across the southeast of the state and south of South Australia. The remainder of the country is mostly cloud-free. Up close, a blanket of low-level cloud has been hovering over the state, becoming more scattered about the southeast. Tomorrow, a weak low pressure system will develop over Tasmania as a cold front crosses the state. A high pressure system remains over South Australia but will be weakened by a westerly trough. On the water, northwesterly winds to 25 knots in the north and east, tending southwesterly to 20 knots, seas reaching 3.5 metres in the west and south. A strong wind warning is current for eastern coastal waters from St Helens Point to Tasman Island. Tomorrow, more showers for Hobart, 12 degrees. Geeveston, showers 11. Bothwell also showers with 10. Showers in Launceston and Devonport, 13. Cressy, a few showers with 12. Burnie and Curry, showers 13. Strawn, showers 11. And the East Coast, guess what? Showers 14 for St Helens and Swansea, Orford 12. The 3-day forecast will see more rain, I'm afraid. Thursday, showers in the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Friday, showers for the west and south, possibly extending to the north in the afternoon, mainly fine elsewhere. And Saturday, showers again in the west and south, extending to the Central Plateau and north in the afternoon. Lapping the map tomorrow, Perth 20, partly cloudy. Adelaide and Melbourne, showers 16. Sydney, sunny with 21 and Brisbane, a sunny 26. And currently partly cloudy for Hobart, 13, Launceston showers and 11, Devonport showers 11 as well, and Murph will be back tomorrow. That's all from me. Thanks, Jo.
Oh, what a shame. We really like you. Thanks, Candice. That's all from the team. Have a good night.